Second of two videos. In the first video, I imagined in how I do things, how I imagine things in this kind of visual format. I imagined what a central bank digital currency can't be. So I started with a currency which would allow for smart contracts and would allow a certain level of control and autonomy for the users in the system. And I'd like to say I quickly eliminated that. So watch the other video to understand why it would be in a government's best interest to be very restrictive. And sort of the gist of this is that you, the government, are going to have to use this, and we, the people, are going to be at cross purposes with you, and we're going to, and if you allow us, we are going to micromanage you through the digital currencies. So now I'm proposing a more simpler, less powerful currency. This is what you're going to have to be stuck with. And yet still, I will show you how we can communicate through the system. So this is a digibyte. This is a much simpler system than Ethereum or EVM. This is more like Bitcoin, except that it's cheaper, right? So one digibyte is about, I don't know, half a penny or 2 cents or something, right? So when I was looking at this currency, as you see, I could put words into it. I could make it say things. And these are indexes, right? So that's an index. Anybody could search on my name and see all the transactions that I have. Of course, with a central bank digital currency, you're not going to allow that. You would never allow me to put my name on something like that, and you would never allow people to search that. You certainly wouldn't allow this. You wouldn't allow me to put a public memo in here because, again, we the people would use this in our favor to form informal unions and whatnot to micromanage the government, and the government's not going to like that. No government would like that, right? That's what is needed, but there's no way that you're going to get, let's say, Congress to pass something like that. So let's just take that off the table right now, okay? So let's look at some older, different transactions. Okay, so in this one, you don't see anything special like the other one, right? We can imagine that these were both given by the government to two different individuals, and nobody else can see this. That's the other thing, right? You've had to restrict this down so that I can't do a search. I can't browse through all of this. But yet we still have a bit of agency left even in this system. Why? Well, because we still can control how much money we transfer, and you can use these digits. So this is almost like the way that a prisoner might think in prison when prisoners are trying to communicate with each other. That's a bit like the mentality that we would come to use when dealing with a central bank digital currency, right? So what I'm saying here is these 5 digits, 3 zeros followed by 5 digits is very rare, and that's unless it means something, right? So the reason why you see this, you would usually see all zeros or 9999 or something like that, but this doesn't happen naturally. I know that because I've looked at the currency. This happens less than 1% of the time, and so we could ask you as the government to review all the times that you see these. And so we could mark all of our transactions with you with messages. We wouldn't be able to see each other's transactions because that would give us too much agency. But we can do this, and then we can open up Freedom of Information Acts. We can put pressure on individual departments, and they would be forced to either they would be forced to basically show the ledger in court. And then if you see, like, for example, the way I derived this 5-digit number was kind of in this low-level Unix system, right? This is kind of a a little message in a certain format, and it says incident unresolved, right, with the IRS, let's say. So this might be the result of me calling in. Well, this message here, I can programmatically reduce to this number, 43480, and then I can send that as a transaction. So again, we are now able to communicate even in this simple, at 1,000th of what you could do with Ethereum smart contract or Polygon or any of these cryptocurrencies, right? You can still communicate at this most basic level, right? 10,000 people could show up in court and say, 43480, I sent that transaction, I sent that message, it's in the ledger, it is a criticism of the way that this department, in this case it's the IRS, is running, and we need to be able to see this, and we need to be able to respond to this, right? And that will hold the government to a level of accountability that they're not going to want to deal with. So that means that, let's say that this is $1, and so let's say you peg the digital currency to $1, right? Okay, so this transaction then would have been $6. Now, you're not going to want to let us have all of these zeros. So Digibyte, Bitcoin, they have 8 zeros behind the decimal point. And in Bitcoin, that's not a very small number. In this number is so small that it doesn't matter, right? It's far less than a penny. So you're going to want to take that away from us too. So let's keep it at just 2 digits, $6, and then nothing beyond that, right? Otherwise, we could do this. We could do this, and though we wouldn't ourselves be able to see other people doing this, we could we could put pressure on individual departments within the government that have to use these things to say, look, we emoted that data. Yes, you've taken away much of our power. You certainly didn't let us do something like this or that or that. But even at the most basic levels, you still have to restrict us even more. And that will make your digital currency less useful, and we'll use something else, right? Anyway, that's just the reality. That's just the reality, and we need to arrive at the reality as fast as possible, because we need to save time here, and so that's part of my goal. So I hope this was also